Good afternoon. Welcome to Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Appointed Directors Meeting. It's Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. My name is Ty Mentor, Chair of the Board. We've got Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards, County Manager Mayor Chavez, and three of our appointed directors so far, Maria Ponte, Dennis Osorio, and Kurt Harden. Welcome. I'm sure that here's Commissioner Mejia zooming in. I'm sure we'll have more joining us here. For public attendance, you may follow along. Our boardroom's closed, unfortunately, for the time being, due to the health directives from the state. And so for public attendance, you may follow along on Thurston County YouTube channel or join by conference call by calling 360-252-9020, PIN 1234. Director of Public Health, Shelley Slaughter, and we've got a call-in from 0133. Did that person identify themselves?
Is that Josh? Josh, is that you via phone?
Sometimes, I was going to say sometimes the sheriff called in, but this is directors, not elected officials.
Who is with, join us via phone with the last four digits of 0133? If you don't identify yourself, I'll take care of the Zoom meeting. Going once, going twice. Okay.
Okay, well, this is an open forum, and Shelley, you sometimes you got to scoot somewhere else, and I'd love to have you here the whole time, but I'll let you go first because I'm sure that way you're free to do what you need to do. You know, you've got a lot on your plate. I was going to ask folks to start their comments today by telling us what movie or TV show that they've binged on in the pandemic, because I'm looking for things to watch late at night when I can't sleep. So I'm sure I watched a lot more TV because I never watched TV before the COVID-19, but anything cool that you watched over the last year, or I'd love to hear that. But okay, Shelley, we'll start with public health.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Menzer, and I actually can stay the whole entire time today, so that'll be great. And to start out with your question, I haven't had a lot of time to watch TV or binge watch shows because I'm too tired usually, but on the weekends at night with my kids, we've been going through all the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. So we've now watched every single one of them. So that's been fun.
Is that like, when you say cinematic universe, is that like just the regular Marvel superhero movies?
Yeah, that's just all the Avengers and the Iron Man and
Are you watching WandaVision?
Are
you
What's
watching
that?
WandaVision on Disney Plus? It's like I don't watch Marvel, but apparently it's a spin-off of the Marvel characters, and it's really good. I've been watching with my kids this last couple of
I haven't watched that one yet, but I want to.
Okay, what's going on in public health?
Well, whenever we have these meetings, it always falls right after the Board of Health the next day, where I feel like I've shared everything under the sun with you ad nauseum over the last couple of days. But I'll share some things that I didn't have the chance to share at Board of Health, and then also just give a general update on vaccines. And I want to also, since I have all my colleagues here on this call, although it looks like we're missing, suddenly it looks like on my screen that we're missing a few people. But anyway, I just wanted to, again, say thank you to Kurt for your team's help, and Josh has given 3 of his staff to help us plan the SPSCC and the fairground site, and they have been doing phenomenal work and plans on getting that up and ready. So that's really exciting and helpful. So, and Jennifer also has had staff that's been helping us. So I'm really proud of our Thurston County plans, and we're moving along. We're on track so that when we do get enough vaccine, we'll be ready to get going. So had had some calls this morning and yesterday about that, and we really won't know what our vaccine allocation will look like next week until late Friday, but it looks like we'll probably have low allocations again for next week. And then we think that the federal supply will increase, and we're supposed to be getting hopefully 3 weeks notice instead of just 3 weeks notice of what our allocation is instead of 1. So that'll really help our planning. We're also spending a lot of time in looking at some things that are happening in the legislature that I would love the chance probably at another time when we have more briefing time to talk about some upcoming bills, such as House Bill 1152 and a substitute bill that came out yesterday regarding structural and governmental organizational changes to local health jurisdictions and local boards of health. So that's something we definitely want to make sure that we're talking about. I've had quite a bit of meetings around that, as well as in terms of FEMA funding for mass vaccination sites, and also just following up on what we can do to further support our houseless community. So there's been a tremendous amount of things going on. Also, since you signed the lead contract, we are moving along fast on that with all of our county partners. We've got weekly meetings now. A meeting, I think this afternoon, on lead, including getting a board or advisory group up and running to guide that going forward, as well as an RFP that we'll need your approval on soon to be able to hire the program manager and the case managers for that project. So, and Patrick, who I don't see on this screen today, but has been really, really helpful in getting that going. And then Opioid Task Force, as you know, we are updating the plan. There's several different groups and forums and to update sections of that. So we're looking forward to that. And then in terms of environmental health, some things that I didn't get to share at Board of Health yesterday, we've had early reports of algae blooms this year. So in 3 different lakes, they've all been below what is safe for advisory levels for toxins, but it's the earliest we've seen algae blooms in a long time, maybe ever. And so that's something that we're kind of curious about and interested in, see what that will mean going forward. And then just heads up that this week, due to the snow, that our testing sites will likely stand down until the weather improves. Since testing, not only do we have our mobile testing where staff are driving around, but also our drive-through sites, which will be really difficult to operate if we have heavy snow conditions. So we're standing by for further information on that, but just to let you know, and that we can then see that affect things later when we have several days without testing in our community. That can then push our case numbers up when people then go get tested later.
Question for Shelley?
Yes, you mentioned the algae blooms at 3 lakes. What lakes is it on?
It was Long Lake, Ward Lake, and I don't want to tell you the wrong one. Hold on a second here. Just pull that up really fast. I was going to share that at the board last night, but we were going a little long and had so many things to say that I passed that one by. It's Summit and Summit Lake.
Dang it.
Which is an important one because that is our drinking water lake.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for Shelley from the group? Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Josh, I'm picking on you next because you were the late comer. You have to say what's your best pandemic TV show binge that you. I'm looking for something to watch, so I'm picking on you guys to tell me what you like as a predicate to your department report.
So let's see. That was me calling in, and I'm probably going to have to try that again. And I heard the setup. I didn't hear Shelley's answer to her movie or binge watch. What was your answer, Shelley?
Marvel, all the Marvel movies.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. I just actually watched WandaVision last night and tried to understand that a little bit. I was not successful in understanding it. Lots of Jeopardy. Watching Ken Jennings trying to find his feet has been really interesting. Nobody can replace Alex, but I think Ken Jennings is doing a pretty dang good job, personally.
And apparently I blocked Josh earlier. He was the one on the cell phone. Well, it's not a response.
Sorry about that, John.
See ya.
That's all right. I'll probably try again in about 15 minutes to call in. So when you see 0133, that's me.
What's going on in CPED?
CPED is steady as she goes. We've got permitting. Never really took a lull. Usually we take a break during the winter period. But we had energy code standards changing at the state legislature. So we had a rush of people come in ending January. So that's what all that craziness was in the BDC that you may have seen over the past few weeks, people rushing to get their applications in. And then we're kind of heading back in this nice weather, and people still planning for a pandemic and working on their houses has not led to a dip in the usual standards for applications. So you've seen people still in the BDC, and we're heading now into the building season in the next couple of months. March, April, we'll begin the new building season. The board has a briefing next week, I believe, on the gopher season from 2020. So you'll see the roundup of the last year, and then have a conversation about if there's any tweaks or fixes or changes that have come to you or that staff has seen. As we've talked about in the past, one of the hopeful outcomes is that this coming season in 2021 will potentially be one of the last as we get the ITP, the incidental take permit, in the coming year. So lots on that front. And then in Jennifer Davis's group, you guys have had lots of conversations about the comprehensive plan. And we're going to start that back up again in the mid-year cycle review or mid-cycle review coming up. So lots of good stuff, but steady as she goes and standard good stuff. Oh, one more thing on HCP. We've really started to gear up on the land acquisition process. So making sure that we've got all the pieces in place for the first quarter of 2022 is going to be really important as we build in 2021 the land acquisition and the permitting process. So this is where the HCP gets handed over from Jennifer Davis's group in community planning to Brett Burris's group in the permitting process, and where the rubber meets the road. So those two things are really huge, and the commissioner's office is likely going to hear more about that as we go through this next year. But we're not resting on our laurels. We're getting ready for success. Sorry, that was a lot.
Anything for Josh? Here. Okay. Go to Dennis Osorio.
Good afternoon, Dennis Osorio, IT Director. So to answer your questions, so for an adult show, I would say Yellowstone. It's pretty good, not Paramount Networks. And then for the more family friendly, just Mandalorian. We binged that and pretty much up to speed on that. So
yeah, that's a good one.
So in IT, some of the big things that are occurring, I'll give you some big project updates. So we're still working through our JABS, which is the court system, audio-visual system, and camera system. We're still working to stabilize that. We've had to escalate that with the vendor, but we did get a team on site yesterday, a more experienced team, and they'll be back out today. Luckily, they had some folks in the state that were putting a system in Shelton. So after they got done there, they swung over here. We were able to kind of get some of our stability issues resolved. And I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but in addition to that, we're also scheduling another expert team from the vendor JABS to come back out in early March. It seems like when we got them on site in early January, we were really able to resolve some of our issues. So some of them are just some inconsistencies that are difficult to troubleshoot, and we really need the experts on board. So we're looking at that project up. One of our other projects is the JTI, which is the case management system for the prosecutor and defense. That project is going along smoothly with a tentative go live of July of this year. They've done data pulls from Damien at this point, and we're really working through all the, both stakeholders are working through all the details on that. And then the other two large projects that we're kind of gearing up for is the ERP project. So we're getting all of our contracting in line with a tentative date to hopefully take it to the board sometime next month. Obviously, we had this project already in flight. We kind of put it on, I forgot, freeze or cool or somewhere in the middle, cold. And now, but as we went through that, we were able to really finalize a lot of the contracts and get everything dialed in. And then the permitting system replacement, we met with the last of our references for a consultant vendor to help us walk through that process. And we'll be meeting with the project team, which some of the sponsors, Shelley, Josh, and Jennifer, to decide if we are going to go ahead with having a consultant assist us during that large project. And then just normal operations. We got all of our evaluations done within the department, and it's already budget time again. So we just had our first budget kickoff internal rates meeting yesterday or Monday, and we'll be starting to have those meetings again to get the internal rates ironed out.
Great. Questions for Dennis? Dennis, I have one on the replacement of Amanda. When you say a consultant, is that, I don't quite remember, have we chosen a program and this is to help us implement, or is this a consultant to help us choose the right program?
Yeah, so this would be the consultant to help us choose the right program. We have just about an RFP and all the requirements put together, but from our experience specifically with the ERP system and having a consultant kind of walk us through that process, and somebody who has that expertise in that space, what the vendors are, and be able to, be like a third party, both to the county as well as the vendors, that was extremely beneficial. And I think anybody that was involved in that process can say that. So we're looking for something somewhat similar to what we used with the ERP selection, same with the permitting.
So would it be like 2022 that system will be in operation, or what's the timeline that we have?
12 to 18 months from when we pick when we're done with the RFP. So yeah, we would probably be looking at closer to the end of 2022.
Okay.
Hey, and this is Josh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Josh.
I just wanted to say thanks to Dennis on that. We had in the past tried to do it without that consultant helping us with the standards, and this already feels better and like it's going to have a better outcome. So thanks to Dennis and his IT team.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, let's go to Human Resources and Maria.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let's see, I'll start with some positive news. The risk team received $5,000 from the risk pool reduction program, and they used that to purchase and install 10 vehicle backup cameras, 2 truck bed liners, and 2 two-way radios for the Waste and Recovery Center. So it's nice when we get money, we can invest. On the recruitment side, we've got 28 postings, and in January, we hired 24 new employees. Let's see, what else? What fun stuff. We've been real busy. Our benefits team has been preparing 1095s, and that's the form that we're required to provide to the IRS and employees, providing verification of health insurance and any premiums paid. And I mention that because it's a lot of manual work. Our payroll system is old, and so kudos to them for laboring. I think that there's about 700 of them that they have to prepare and submit. On the labor side, pretty busy there as well. We're doing a lot of labor management with the unions. Some of it safety related, how are we responding to COVID and what measures are in place. So those turn out to be good discussions in terms of letting them know how seriously we've taken it and why we implement things that we do. So good conversations there. Another good piece of news, the sheriff's administrative staff, we reached an agreement, and that's going out to ratification and a vote by their members. So hopefully have that before the board in the next few weeks to get that signed off. The probation and mental health vets court employees were recognized and added to the district court collective bargaining agreement. And final, I've been working on updating our telework policy. You know, we went into this hurried pandemic teleworking and have had a chance to review that, make some edits. I've worked with the ITC group. I submitted it to all the contacts for our separately elected offices, departments. I got a lot of really good constructive feedback. And that's with legal currently. And so hopefully get that to the board within the next few weeks as well. The telework policy now really has a focus on using it as an enhancement tool for recruiting, retention, efficiencies, productivity. So that was actually enjoyable. It's always nice to work on policy and get them updated. With that, is there any questions that I can answer?
Did you watch on TV, Maria?
Yes.
Say again?
I have a quick question for Maria. I didn't hear if somebody else said anything.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
How about court security officers, Maria? Where are you at on that?
We did a mediation with the court security group about a week and a half ago and did not come to agreement. And next week we'll be having further discussions and Romero will
Maybe I
be...
can elaborate on that. The board received a letter related to this particular matter. So I will be scheduling an executive session on Tuesday morning for you to further elaborate on the response of that letter.
Okay, thank you.
What do you watch, Maria, that you can recommend?
Oh, okay. I was thinking about that because I don't tend to be a binge TV watcher, but somebody recommended The Queen's Gambit. I would say that's adult only. So I was actually binging on that over the last 3 days.
Good one.
I will personally like investigative shows, so I'm a big fan of Dateline.
Okay, Kurt Harden's next.
Good afternoon. So for television shows, I have to tell you that binge watching, my daughter started reading the Harry Potter books at the beginning of the pandemic. So she proposed that we read them together. I am so far 7 books behind her. She's finished them all, and I'm still on the first one. And then she started watching all the Harry Potter movies. So I know more about Harry Potter than I think I want to, but it's all good. It's all good. And I don't know if Josh is still on the line, but she also likes to watch Jeopardy, but she's not a big Ken Jennings fan. She's a James Holzhauer fan, and that's the extent of my Jeopardy knowledge. So I'll throw that out there for Josh.
Hey, James is great. James is great.
Okay. Well, she's a James fan. I have no idea what that means. So you'll have to educate me when I'm smart.
Sounds good.
Okay. So anyway, for emergency services, obviously the big thing facing us right now, you would have thought it would be the pandemic, but it's actually the snow and weather incidents that are moving our way here in the next couple of days. In fact, we just got off the call with the National Weather Service this morning as of 10 o'clock this morning with an update. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about snow accumulations. We all know it's going to be cold, but the media is focused on total accumulation. But I think when you put it into perspective over the next couple of days, it's not as daunting as it sounds. I will tell you that beginning tomorrow morning, right around sunrise, right around 7:30, the snow will start to come into Thurston County. but it's going to be a light, dry snow. It's going to be probably about 2 to 3 inches over the next 36 hours. And it'll be maybe 1/4 of an inch per hour that will fall. So it's not anything that's going to be intense as we move from Thursday into Friday. And so again, that's the dry, fluffy snow. But what will start happening Friday evening is we'll probably get 4 to 6 inches from Friday evening into Saturday afternoon. And the snowfall could be up to 1 inch per hour. And that's going to be the wetter, heavier snow. So having said that, I think it's easier for people to understand that it should not have too much of an impact on the commute tomorrow and or Friday. And then starting Friday night, we'll have to assess how much snow is on the ground, and it'll come down a little heavier. But I think that's a lot more understandable than the 10 inches that I keep seeing on the media that is planted squarely in the middle of Thurston County. And we are in Thurston County and Lewis County. We're at the snow epicenter for once. Usually it's north of Seattle, but all of my colleagues to the north of us are letting me know, congratulations, we're finally getting snow that they've been getting all along. So I think they want to share the wealth. But it doesn't sound undoable. It sounds very manageable as we're moving in. From an emergency services perspective, I know that we've worked out with our shelter partners in case there's sheltering requirements because of a loss of power outage. But at this point, we're also doing information requests, working closely with the public information officers. And I know Public Works is already out there leading this effort. And I know Public Health is working with sheltering for the houseless population out there as well. So there's a lot going on in that respect. The other piece is supporting public health with the vaccination clinics and sites. As Shelley mentioned, we had some very successful efforts recently. And just a slice of it on the Medic One side, emergency management side, we were able to work the RAC vaccination site last Saturday. And I think we got a little over 1,100 people vaccinated on that one. And then we did all the EMS providers, approximately 400 EMS providers between the first dose clinics the last week of December and then the second dose clinics that were the first week of February. So been working and busy with that. And then trying to find time to do the normal day-to-day stuff, such as we have 7 medic ambulances that need to be replaced and doing the specs for that and starting that whole process. And somebody mentioned budget, and it's always near and dear to my heart, of course, but the budget process coming up. So always busy, as everybody else is always busy as well. So subject to your questions, that's really a synopsis of where we are today.
Questions for Kurt?
So maybe people should start rethinking their Valentine's Day's plan. Is that what I'm hearing?
I would rethink it. Valentine's Day today is really good time to celebrate. Don't wait till Sunday.
I just wanted to mention on that note that it's a good time to brush off our inclement weather and our telework FAQs. We're always going to get questions from our employees, so better to be prepared than not.
Yes, and thank you to HR because I asked that question and Maria was real quick to give me, well, start them off with the frequently asked questions and then we'll go from there. And that answered everybody's questions. So, and I have to say that all the resources that have been put into teleworking over the past year are paying off because now we can virtually operate an ECC for a short period of time. So we're actually, this is something that we can leverage into the future. So it's really good that we're able to utilize the telework equipment.
Anything else for Kurt? My kids have a different perspective than county leadership on the snow. They're very excited. I'll let them know what you've got.
I would say my daughter is very excited as well. She doesn't understand my less enthusiastic response to the snow.
Good. Thank you, Kurt. All right, I'm going to go to Patrick O'Connor. Pat, the initial question is, any good TV show you binged during the pandemic that you can share?
Oh.
And then report on your department.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just getting out of an all-day evidentiary hearing. Favorite binge show during the pandemic? Really like the one about chess. That sounds really dumb, but I can't remember what it was called.
Queen's
Queen's
Gambit.
Queen's
Gambit.
Gambit.
Yeah. Queen's Gambit was really good. And we just finally finished The Americans after 8 years. So
Oh,
that
that's nice.
finally finished that series.
Pretty
Yeah,
epic.
what's that?
That was a pretty epic conclusion to that show.
Yeah, it was. It was a good one. Yeah, we commented that when it started, our youngest was, just born. So it was a pretty long series. Things are good, busy. Update to share with the board. Finished last month, our 13th month. So we're remitting almost $400,000 back to the general fund. So, just a weird year, obviously, for 2020, but for us. So just on by, we just have offer and acceptance from 2 new attorneys to join us. Really excited. They're both going to be felony attorneys to fill vacancies. One's a 9-year attorney coming from Yakima. And she's really, really excited. She's from here originally, went to Evergreen. So she's excited to leave the desert and come here. And our other new hire is a 6-year attorney from Pierce County. And they're both starting the first week of March. So we're excited about that, and busy, busy, busy like everybody else.
You think, Pat? All right, Jennifer, you're up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's see, a TV show that I have binged that I haven't finished with it yet, I just stumbled upon it, is Anne with an E. It's Anne with an E. The book Anne of Green Gables. But yeah, I really like it. I'm enjoying it. And my husband is enjoying it. So anytime that we can find a show that we both like to watch together, like that's a good thing. So
what channel is that on? Is that on Netflix?
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's family friendly. So Public Works, we are in the planning phases for the snow event in coordination with ER&R. I did just put in the notice that we will be moving to a 24-hour operation beginning on Thursday at 7 a.m. Through the weekend. So we've already applied de-icer. We have all of the trucks that we have that we can put plows on the front of. We've done that as well. And our focus will be on the major arterials and collectors, notification, press releases going out in terms of what we're doing to prepare. And we'll be providing updates throughout the event. That has been the primary focus that we've been leading up to. Happy to report that we are getting an almost $600,000 grant from the Department of Ecology to retrofit an existing stormwater detention system that we have in a neighborhood. So that is good news for us. It will improve not only the flow of the water that's going through, but also water quality as well. And then we're just continuing to focus on performance evaluations, and myself and my direct reports will be having our annual strategic planning effort, where we'll do kind of an environmental scan of where we are and what we need to be looking forward to and planning for in the future. One of the items I definitely think we're going to be talking about is what does, as we transition out of the pandemic, because we will eventually transition out of that. What is the new way that we will be doing work? So we've been doing a lot of teleworking, and I think we need to be talking about what are we going to continue? What meetings are we going to continue to hold virtually? What meetings are going to be in person? How on some of the things that we've put in place on how we do our work, will we continue to do it that way? Will we morph it into some other way of doing it that's not going back to how we used to do it? It's not how we're doing it now, but it's kind of that third, better way of doing it. So looking forward to that discussion.
Anything for Jennifer? Okay, Robin, you're up.
Hi, everyone. So TV show that we stumbled across that I binge watched over a weekend or so was Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, because it's completely escapism. And what we're doing now is Central Services is preparing for the cold weather to support Public Works in Fleet, and trying to take care of the conditions at our county buildings and Central Services, and deciding how we're going to get mail delivered if there's snow on the ground. So all those good things. And the budget people have started the budget process for 2022. So, yep.
Robin, I know that when we talked last year, you were going to be going back to the board and having a discussion about whether it was going to be an annual or biennial budget. Has that happened yet? I just don't recall if the board has made the decision yet or not.
No, they have not. We just got it on the calendar. Amy is currently scheduling my budget meetings with the board. So I'm hoping the first conversation about that will happen next week, but I don't see it scheduled yet.
Okay, thank you.
We have sent out the draft calendar, but because annual or biennial, the calendar is going to remain just about the same. So I've shared the draft calendar with the board. I'll be asking them soon to approve that, and then we'll be on to the next thing.
Okay, Rob.
I would also share that the COVID-19 fiscal team is very active right now. We're watching the bills that are moving through Congress or not moving, following the information that we get from NACO and GFOA, and trying to figure out what, if any, money is available to us now for the costs that we're incurring. And we are asking all offices and departments to continue to track any costs, so that if we do get money, that we'll have those costs ready to bill out. So please, please continue to track your costs.
Any questions for Robin? Okay, I'll go to the county manager.
Thank you. I have two TV shows that we have watched over the last few months with my wife. That one is Queen's Gambit. I sort of can relate. I used to be part of the chess team in high school, so it was right up my alley in a way. And the whole thing behind the strategy of the whole context of that show was just on point. And also, you cannot go wrong with The Mandalorian. And that was just, I think we just finished the second season. And now we have to wait a few months for the third season to come up. That is just amazing. But anyways, because a Star Wars geek in a way, among all the many different superhero movies, Shelley, I think I watched just about every single one so far, so you're not alone. In matters of what I'm working on, there is always an opportunity to have a conversation with the board in so many different items, coordinating different agendas, briefings, and everything else. What is coming this week is the weather conditions, and I will touch base with Jennifer just to make sure that we have that coordination on Friday morning. That's the system that we have. I myself need to go through refreshing the process to notify county employees and everybody else in the event the county offices may be affected by the weather conditions. So, and anyway, so I just need to refresh that in my mind this evening. And that's really what is coming up in the next few days for me.
Ramirez? No. All right, Commissioner Mejia is up.
So I'm ashamed to say that we are binge watchers with my husband, and we have this process of he chooses a show and then I choose the show. So we just actually finished The Boys on Amazon, and that one was interesting. And I think right now what we're watching is Ozark, and we're almost done with that. So.
Anything to report for the directors about what you've been up to?
I do not have anything to report, but I just want to thank all of you for making yourself available to me this past month. And I really do look forward to continue working with all of you. And, thank you for all your reports and for your help and guidance during this time.
Okay. Questions for the commissioner? Okay, Commissioner. Oh yeah, Jennifer.
I have one. What's been, as you've transitioned into the new role, like what's been like the biggest maybe surprise for you?
The biggest surprise, that's a good question. Let's see. I mean, I expected the amount of reading and I expected the meetings. But I guess, I don't know, for me, it's just been the biggest surprise. I don't know. I don't know. I think just learning, I think the intricacies of every department of, things that are on the outside that everyone thinks about, but then just seeing everything else that's behind. And, it's really what people see as the tip of the iceberg, and they don't see everything that's underneath. So I think that's been the biggest surprise, just learning each department and learning how each one is their own little iceberg and everything that's underneath the water.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Edwards.
I think Patrick had a question.
Oh, sorry.
I had a comment. I just said at some point you'll realize the departments are better than the offices.
The offices are watching this live stream.
It's a competition.
I think I'm going to probably be boring to most of you, but I don't know, my favorite TV when I get to watch it is History, Discovery, National Geographic, and my wife watches Hallmark. So I don't know what to add to that. So probably not too exciting, but I like to travel, so they give you some good scenery. Anyway, I really don't have anything to add either. I just want to, maybe I could even say something for our new commissioner. I bet the time is flying by. That's all. It is amazing how quick time goes by. And we're done with this week and on to the next week and then the next week. And thank you all for everything that you folks are doing on a daily basis to keep us functioning. So that's it for me.
Okay.
Those Christmas Hallmark movies are the best. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's my guilty pleasure.
My wife as well. I try to avoid the TV, but we make jokes in the house about every plot is pretty much the same, but she likes to watch them. Okay, well, I guess I'll clean up. And for family shows, see, I never watch TV, so I've actually kind of enjoyed this pandemic. Like, I'm home and I've watched more TV than I've ever watched in my life. For family stuff, Mandalorian and something that my wife and kids can watch together, Cobra Kai. We love the Karate Kid spin-off there. And then I've gone back and watched the old Karate Kids to remember. I didn't even see Karate Kid 2 and 3. And then for an adult show, my wife and I really enjoyed Money Heist over the summer. It's from Spain, but it's really, really good. And then I watched a really peculiar show recently called Giri Haji. It's Japanese and English, and very, very well done. Just one season, but it's a really unusual and good show. I recommend. As far as a report from me, a lot going on, and folks probably heard that the board passed the climate mitigation plan and supporting resolutions yesterday. And I just wanted to call attention to one provision of it in the resolution. Thurston, number 3 is that Thurston County will develop and adopt a lens of climate change and climate equity for all county staff and departments engaged in planning, zoning, permitting, budgeting, expenditures, ordinances, and all other county efforts, policies, and practices to further climate action efforts and our approved regional climate mitigation plan. So that applies to everyone, and it's kind of vague what that means, just sitting here. And so I'm going to be asking for your help into sort of working with, and I'm going to work with the board and county leadership to figure out how we can put that on the ground. I've heard anecdotally from other jurisdictions how they've gone about implementing something like that, and there are really interesting and cool things that we can do. But I don't want to just shove it on the shelf and just ignore it, pat ourselves on the back for passing a policy that we're not actually going to implement. So I'd ask for all of your support and open-mindedness about what this could mean to do something really good for county business as we try to work with our jurisdictional partners and our broader community, and just kind of create a healthier, more climate-friendly, sustainable future. So there's that. And if nobody else has anything else, we can adjourn early. Anybody else have a last comment or question? Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Love seeing you guys each month. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.